the club to pop when I come up with the crop. Gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the club spot. Get the club to pop when I come up with the club spot. Get the club to pop when I come up with the club spot. Get the club to pop when I come up with the club spot. Get the club to pop when I come up with everybody. We do it. Everybody. We do it.
You are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. I hella probably have COVID, so I'm not going to smoke as much. I'm still going to smoke, don't get me wrong. So if I sound like a little like cloudy or like clogged up, I'm just fighting through it. It's so funny. You know, my 9 to 5 that I had, I looked for any reason to be sick and call out sick. Loved it. Should probably called out of this podcast, but I'm not. Because I love this and I love you guys. And I love the guests who we have on tonight. And it's going to be such an amazing episode. I hope you guys can hear me. I haven't been rocking the headphones lately. Yeah, just because I'm more comfortable without them. You know, I want to be comfortable. But man, what is good? How's everyone doing? If this computer is shaking, I'm so sorry. I forgot to put it on a different desk that I normally have in front. So a little late, too late for that. Just have to deal with it. If there's any Canadians in here tripping over that, sorry, not my problem. But if this is your first time tapping into the coolest reptile podcast in the world, if you're new to the hobby, if you're a veteran to the hobby, if you're a straight OG, triple OG, the hobby, you're going to like this because we bring all types of shit that's reptile related to the podcast every Thursday, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So I highly suggest, especially if you're hella new in this, click that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, drop a comment if you have any questions because I read those comments, believe it or not. And I also respond to them. But more importantly, man, just be ready because I come out with this every week, like I said, and it just doesn't stop. It's not going to stop anytime soon. And that's that. So shout out to all my early birds. I see all my trappers in the building. I'll get to you guys in just a second. But you guys know what the deal is. For the freshest and bestest, top-notch, professionally packed rodents to the doorstep, coldbloodedcafe.com. Telling you right now, $30 flat rate shipping. These guys do not miss a step when it comes to sending you rodents. They're on premium diet. A lot of people cut corners with what they feed to their rats. Just saying, I've seen it. Not Cold Blooded Cafe. What goes in the rats goes inside the snakes. I pay attention to that kind of shit. So that's why it's all about Cold Blooded Cafe in my book. And I know there's so many of you out there, especially all my trappers for the most part, who fuck with Cold Blooded Cafe. I salute you. I also salute anybody who uses sim containers because I'm telling you right now, if you got eggs, they belong inside of a sim box because you do not have to worry about humidity. You don't have to worry about the lid being too closed or too open. A lot of people stress out about that. You don't have to worry about fucking food seal wrap. I'm terrible at ripping that shit off. I have three. I have 2 food seal wraps that both had the seal, like the metal part that you rip off, just busted. I can't figure it out. But guess what? I don't even need to use them unless I need backup, which I'm not going to lie. My clutches are flowing. John, I might need some more sim containers. But what I got to say is once you take less steps out of your process of what you're doing, especially if it comes to pulling a clutch, and a lot of you out there normally pull more than 1 clutch at a time. A lot of you motherfuckers out there killing it. So less steps, I feel like is easier way to go. So if you got your eggs inside of a sim box, you're gonna see that's the best route, the best way to go when it comes to hatching your eggs. So shout out to John, shout out to Sim, shout out to John. Oh man, I need alpha brain, bro. This is woo. Shout out to John and shout out to Alex over at Sim Containers. You guys are amazing. And if any of you saw their tables at the last 2 shows, killing it. Sim Container is on fire. I take that back. They weren't at Arlington, but they were at Anaheim. Shout out to Ashley and Steven over at Focus Cube Habitats. I have finally gotten my 6 foot tall, 4 feet wide, 2.5 feet deep custom trap enclosure for the lace monitors for now. The lace monitors probably has a few more months, and then they're going to go outside permanently. These fucking monitors grow really, really quick. So shout out to any monitor creepers out there. It's no joke. I don't really see myself getting too deep into keeping a lot of monitors. I'm pretty select. I'm pretty good where I'm at. But yeah, they are growing quick. So my plan for the 6x4x2 is to get the green tree monitors that I have in here when they're adults to go in there. So it would all work out. But either way, Mac, Dre, and Alice are loving it. Shout out to Steven and Ashley. Thank you so much for plugging me up with such an amazing enclosure. And if you out there have been getting cages from Focus Cube Habitats, you're probably listening to this saying, damn, MJ's hella right, because their enclosures are clean as fuck. And if you want to talk about professional racks, shout out to Freedom Breeder, the stainless steel racks made in the United States, built in the 90s, legit. Always keeps their value. If you got a Freedom Breeder rack, you know where it's at. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to the entire Freedom Breeder crew. Need I say more? Shout out to Miguel Garcia, one of my biggest inspirations since coming into the hobby and still is to this day when he answers my phone. Just kidding. Love you. But man, thank you so much, Miguel. Honestly, you're nonstop. Every time you're doing something that is related to the industry, when I say industry, I mean the reptile hobby, it's all positive and it's all big things. And you are literally just inspiring a bunch of people who have that fire like me, who's just, still fresh, still new, and just want to do a lot in this. So if you're like that, then go follow Miguel. If you don't know who Miguel is, at Always Evolving Pythons. US ARC guys, man, the 2 last US ARC meetings that the US ARC parties, the fucking auction, it all goes down. I'm telling you, if you guys are just missing these US ARC auctions and going to the shows, make the auction a priority. Because like I said, you can really kick it with some people and have some fun. But yeah, shout out to the last 2 US ARC auctions. Both cleared record, both had record-breaking numbers when it came to the amount of money that was earned at both auctions. So I got to say, man, this is good news. I love hearing this. If you have no idea what US ARC is and you want more information, go down to the link below, click on US ARC, and read up on it. Become a member if you can. And if you can't, then just talk about it, man. I'm telling you, word is mouth, word is key. And you guys are sick as fuck. Okay, before I get into the early birds and before we get the homie Troy in, if you want to get a hold of me for any reason, good or bad, I don't give a fuck. Hit me up on Instagram. That's the way to go. mjexoticscartal with an A, not an E. And then if you really want to stay on top of the Trap Talk with MJ podcast post, go follow the Trap Talk with MJ podcast Instagram page. Shout out to my Twitch viewers. You guys are amazing. If you want to support this channel further than a subscription, or if you want to support US ARC, not through YouTube, I totally understand. Hit me up on PayPal. Leave a note. Tell me what it's for. And I promise you, I will give you the shout out. I appreciate all the love and respect. And then shout out to my Patreon family. You guys are real deal fucking savages, and you guys are all about this damn hobby. I love every single one of you. Thank you so much for motivating me. And you out there are trying to be a part of more than what you're doing. Like if you're like, damn, how do I fucking meet people? Because you ever met somebody and you're like, is there any other kind of people I can meet? I get it. Trust me, I get it. Fuck this hobby. I'm just fucking, you can really meet some people here. But on the other end of the spectrum, there's really some amazing people. All I got to say is if you want to know more about the Trap Talk Patreon family, go down to the link below, click on the Trap Talk Patreon family link, join the family. We get together every Sunday, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and we chop it up about some secret ass shit. But anyways, appreciate all the support. You guys are amazing. Just like all my early birds up in the building. Damn, who's all here? Damn, there's some heavy people in the building. Shout out to the homie Kevin, Forest Pythons, Bateman. Thanks for being here. The homie H, and by the way, he's a Patreon homie as well. HB Reptiles, Patreon Savage, what is good? Scale Fins and Feathers, what is good? Jason, the homie Jason, Barber J, that's my boy. What is good? Deviant Glass, fucking full blow, some sick ass glass. Remind me to hit you up, or can you hit me up on Instagram? We got to talk about the next piece, bro. I'm ready. But yeah, shout out to homie Deviant Glass. Eric's More Factory, what is good? What is good, Chandler? You see, Year Zero Reptiles, aka Shooter McGavin. Don't fuck with my boy. 1,000-yard range. Boom. Pop your head like a fucking pimple. Dead ass. Runyon Reptiles, what is good? And here we got my girl Hannah Banana. Hannah, I'm not happy I missed you at Arlington. That's your backyard. Didn't see you, but you were partying in Miami or Florida, so respect. I can't really get too mad at that. Homie Derek Pides, that's my boy right there. Derek Pide took over OJ. OJ was my favorite retic of all times. And then, yeah, I guess if you do want to talk to Troy, hit up Lisa Schroeder. Fuck, Troy. Could have told you how you could have just talked to people back. But, shout out to Lisa Schroeder for being a real one and letting Troy actually get access to the YouTube account. Some spouses aren't okay with that, but look at this. Teamwork makes the dream work. I love it. Thanks for tapping in, Lisa, if you're here. And yeah, hit up Troy. You guys have any questions? We'll shout that out. What up, the homie Bubba? How are you doing, buddy? Points Pythons, what is good? Sean Perry, what is cracking? Now I'm going to end it. Wait, hold on. I got a couple more. Jay Hendo, that's a Patreon homie. And then I will end it with the day one travel and audio visual manager, Matt Summers. If you see me at a remote Trap Talk MJ session going down, behind the keyboard, behind the camera, behind all the magic is my man, Matt Summers. Trap family all day. Go give my boy a follow, please, right now. And go subscribe to his YouTube channel because he's pushing out some sick-ass content. Shout out to my boy, Matt. Thanks for being here. You're the boy. Thank you. Woo! All right, hold on. Fuck, dude. I think that was a pretty good intro for being fucking sick. I think it's time for fucking some straight trap business now, because guess what? This podcast, long overdue, and this is a podcast that is almost a continuation, I would say, because I sat down with this gentleman. But it wasn't like one-on-one like this. I mean, yeah, we were one-on-one, but the vibe, it was at a show. It was at Schaumburg. So shout out to anybody who saw the Schaumburg YouTube episode that I put out. And my boy Troy was a part of that episode. And he's tapping in now to finish what we were talking about. And he's from the fucking state of Iowa, where the greatest band of all time, Slipknot, is from. So this is amazing. Here he is, Troy Schroeder, best dressed balls.
Thank you, kind sir. That was very. You have the best intro out of any of these.
I feel delusional. Are you sure? I feel like okay. I felt like, you know how you feel sick, but then sometimes when you're sick, like you do even better. Sometimes I did that. I've done that in sports, and I feel like right now I'm doing a lot better than how I thought I was going to do all day.
Yeah.
But I am excited that this is going down because Troy, what is good, man? I've been seeing you at the last few shows. You've been killing it. You're getting some fucking clout. We're going to talk about all that. But before we do, introduce yourself. Tell the people how long you've been involved with breeding ball pythons or just in animals in general, if you don't mind.
Yeah. I always think that like there's the short story and the long story, right? So I'm going to try to make that in between there somewhere.
However you want. Yeah.
So me and my wife, Lisa, we've been together for almost 25 years. We have a 20-year-old son, Michael, and about 24 years ago, as Lisa and I had first kind of got together, we bought green iguanas, right? I think this is probably everybody's segue into reptiles is green iguanas. And I bought them from a place called Earl May. If people don't know what Earl May is, it's like a place you buy trees and shit, and they used to sell snakes and reptiles. And so it led very quickly to like me and Lisa having a big passion for reptiles. If you're familiar with Animal Plastics Racks, AP, Mark and Allie had a pet store back in the day, and we got to know them. It led us into a pet store. So we had a pet store for about 4 years. We bred leopard geckos and bearded dragons, Burmese pythons. And when our son was born, we, thought we needed to be part of the real world. And so we went back to, real jobs. And about 9 years ago now, I jumped back into some ball python stuff. We had started breeding leopard geckos again, and every show I went to, like, 8, 9, 10 years ago, I kept falling in love with ball pythons again, and finally pulled that trigger, and I bought a 1.2 of a G-stripe, albino G-stripe project, and from those 3 snakes, it's led to me having, 300 or 400 snakes. So that's the long and short of it.
So 300-400. I guess we could get this question out of the way. How many clutches are you averaging a year? Where are you at this year with clutches?
Yeah, so this was my biggest year yet. This year I tried to breed or tried to lock about 80 animals, and I ended up with I have 2 girls yet to lay. I think I'll end up with 58 or 59 clutches.
Okay. Damn.
And then this coming year, I'm hoping I'm adding about, I think it's like 12 girls. So I'm hoping to try to lock about 90, 92, somewhere in there.
Do you know the number off the top of your head? How many females a year are normally not breeding for you? Like, you know, like that you recall, or does it normally every single female going for you for the most part every year?
Yeah, this year, I do kind of know that number, because I'm sitting down here. I believe out of the 80 that I locked, I only had like 2 that just physically didn't go through any motions. I never saw follicles, just didn't do anything this year, whether that was a feed thing. I also moved rooms. I moved to different racks all last October. So I think that probably had to play with it, but really we had a lot of success for, going through maybe a bit of a move and giving the girls stress and things like that. And then I believe, I think I ended up with like, I think 5 or 6 slug outs. And again, I probably could be from the rack move. I went from a lot of CB70s down to FB40s. And so I had moved some girls around. I definitely fought some hot spots this year, like with having brand new racks and thinking I had it dialed in. And then like a month later, I was like, holy shit, why is this hotter all of a sudden? So I definitely had some hurdles, but really looking forward. I think the kinks are worked out. And so really looking forward to this coming season.
All right, sweet. Now, I mean, I know shit happens. Obviously, clutches fucking, they slug out. It is what it is. But for the most part, anytime you get a clutch that slugs out, are you finding that the issue to it? Like, is it always because like you either moved, or is it sometimes like, what the fuck was that all about? Like, how often is it kind of like where the reasoning behind the slug out?
Yeah, for a couple of those, I absolutely do. That I thought they just never, they never packed on the weight that they probably should have, and I probably shouldn't have locked them. I'm honest. I probably shouldn't have. It was borderline. I decided to do it, and I learned my lesson with a couple girls. I think the other girls, like 2 of them were first-time moms. So whether the dad had, maybe the dad was a first-time dad, like, was it, weak sperm? Was he too hot in his rack? Were they too hot? Were they stressed? Like, some of those, I think it's really hard to really pinpoint, because I think there's so many different things that could lead to a girl slugging out. But like I said, I think a couple, like 2 of them for sure. I had a Russo clown girl that just didn't pack the weight back on the way I would have liked. She was at weight. She was over 1,500 grams, but I think she could have packed on a few more meals and maybe would have been better off. And I had a special pied girl the same way. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. So let me ask you this, Troy, when your first year of breeding, right? Let me ask you, okay, hold on. Let me slow this down. So ball pythons, was that the thing right off the go when it came to becoming a breeding business? Like, was it all about the ball pythons?
Yeah. We did well with leopard geckos and things like that over these past 20 years. But really, when I dove back into ball python, it's kind of funny. Like, it's every guy that's probably went through this. Like, my wife was like, "Oh, you won't stop at these, 1.2. You're gonna end up having an entire snake room again or something." And I'm like, "No way." But it grew quickly, right? Like, it's addicting, and so I did. I kind of fell in love very quickly and dove in. And learned a lot of lessons. I thought I had retained a lot of info from, years of kind of hearing things and whatnot, but I was never really big into breeding snakes that first 10, 15 years. So I had a lot to learn, and I found that out, I think, very quickly. And luckily, for me, it's really 2 things. One, you have a good support system of friends that are in the hobby that have done it, in the industry, have done it for, a matter of years above you, and that are willing to share. And I think things like this, MJ, like, this wasn't around 25 years ago necessarily. Like, back then it was Reptiles magazine, and you learned what you could from maybe a phone call and stuff. And I remember buying snakes for our pet store off of a fax machine. So it's been a learning process, and it's continued to be a learning process. The slug out thing is a learning process. And so, but yeah, I think I dove pretty quick, pretty deep right into ball pythons after I bought the 1.2, man. It went pretty quick. It grew quickly.
So with that being said, your first year was how many clutches?
I think the very first year, I want to say was 6 or 7 clutches.
Damn, 6 or 7 clutches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
That's right on target where I was at. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say like my next, like from going from that to like, I think I hit around 32 a couple years ago, and now to hit, damn near 60, it's been a fun journey, man. And my goal, I think goals are really important. My goal is to get to 100 clutches. I want to see what 100 clutches is like.
That's awesome. And so with that being said, what were you producing? Okay, so how long did it take you to get to this point? Because how many years ago was it your first clutch? I don't know. If
yeah, so I bought in like either 9 or 10 years ago that I bought that first trio, and right away that year I started buying other females and stuff. So that following year is when I got my first clutches. And again, I think it was around 6 or 7. So somewhere around 8 years ago, I hit that 6 or 7 mark. Fast forward to now, darn near 60.
Dude, and I feel personally for me, I want to get to 50 and see where that's at. Just because I work with, and I'm talking about ball pythons, just because I work with a bunch of other stuff that I hope by that time, because I started this is my third actual year breeding. So this is my actual third year breeding. And I have at 16 clutches. Like today I just figured out I'm actually going to have 16 for the year. Right.
Okay.
And but thing is, like, I'm in no rush. I'm not trying to get to 50 tomorrow. You know what I mean? So like, because I kind of already scared myself out of that phase, because I did buy a lot at first. Right. And, I had friends like Miguel and other homies that were like just on that level. And I was just, scratching my head, and it became more of just me trying to keep up. And I was like, fuck this. I'm good. Like, you know, like I'm going to get what I feel like I want selectively. And then obviously I'm going to go feed my other addiction with chondros and emeralds and shit like that, which I feel like me, I not that I would get fully bored off just ball pythons, but I would fully get bored off just ball pythons. So, just because I just need the interaction, like I need to almost get bit. Like I need to be kept on my toes. Like, I don't know what it is. And, I mean, as much as I used to bitch and complain about doing all the retic work, which that does make sense, that actually got my mornings going, like knowing that I had to do that. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's, it is what it is. But I mean,
and I like that you brought up the point, like you said, you buy a lot, and then you kind of buy what fits you. Right. And that was a lesson I think we went through. I was, quote unquote, chasing, thought that I needed the next best thing, this and that. And that's somewhat true now, but it's more dialed in, I think, or more calculated. I remember that peak where I was like, buy. And now it's like, well, I don't really need that. I don't really want that. It doesn't fit my room. It doesn't fit my project, doesn't fit my goal, or, so it's, you kind of roller coaster, I think. And we're finally at a point where, you kind of plateau on how to do this correctly. Again, I think it's always a learning experience, but I feel like I'm at a good point where I don't get lost in that buy.
Well, I mean, I think what it was for me is like I was so just like not sure I was buying this snakes for the money. It was more because of the rarity, right? And then once I found that like there's not much rarity in ball pythons, there is with the morphs and quality, right? Like in certain things, but you can only go so far before you hit something where it's like everyone already has it, right? Once you to a certain point, right? And I don't mean everything. I'm just saying like everyone's dipped into something that's all is.
Yes.
God, I'm sorry, I have my new toad enclosure here. But anyways, what was I gonna fucking say after that? Hold on. Shit, what were we just talking about, Troy? Help me. I do this like once a time.
Doing the roller coaster of buying stuff.
Oh, yes. It's okay. There you go. Thank you so much. You're my man.
I got
you. So like I said, I was in the beginning when I was getting all these ball pythons, it was more like, I didn't know what a killer bee was. I didn't even know what albino recessive was. I was seeing it and I was buying it because I was like, that's the kind of buyer I was like. I just want it, right? And then as I got more serious into the whole ball python breeding thing, that's when I was like kind of like, all right, so what makes sense? What is it that I have that could actually make what I actually want, And that's when I realized a lot of shit just, so I had to cut that down a lot. And when I realized that everything that I really, really wanted was like fucking $5,000, like really, really expensive, but I had some heavy stuff already. But long story short, when I upped my ball python game, it was selective powerhouse males. It was really nice females, not a lot, but I got my game up to back to 50-ish ball pythons back in like 2018 or so. Now I'm pushing over a couple hundred. I'm like, so, but anyways, I'm just saying like, it just wasn't about the money. You know what I mean? obviously, as I learned more, I saw what Miguel was doing. I saw what other people were doing. I knew that there's a lot of money involved in this. It could come, it really can. I will openly say that, right? But I at that time I was fucking having a part owner of a gym. I was making good money. That wasn't important to me. Like I wasn't like trying. I had mentors who were doing this 100% for the living, and I would look at them like, man, maybe someday, but right now I don't want nothing to do with that. It just happened like that 3 years ago. That was my mentality, and then now literally I do this shit full time. Because you gotta understand a lot of things came into play, podcasts, a bunch of shit. But anyways,
yeah.
What I did was I kept my I kept my interest relevant, meaning everything I have is actually what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And will it make money someday if it pans out? You goddamn right it will, because everything I like is expensive. Like I do like the selective stuff, but I don't have hundreds of it, like, and what I say is like I don't have hundreds of ball pythons. I don't even know where I'm at with my ball. Actually, yeah, I do. I'm like 150-ish. And then yeah. So, but anyways, it's like you said, that shit just catches up. I sometimes don't even keep track on how many ball pythons I have. But like I'm saying is I just kept my interest relevant by having chondros, having emeralds. I have 2 separate rooms because that's why I'm into keeping. I'm not, the money part is the fucking bonus on top of everything that I enjoy that these animals bring, like the fact that I can make money off enjoying this. And if you're good at being a people person and making relationships and going to shows and putting yourself out there like Miguel and Justin and these other big breeders like you do, like how these other breeders do, I'm telling you, you can make a living out of this. It's super possible.
Absolutely.
But anyways, so it just landed. I wasn't gun-ho for this, but it happened. And when it does, yeah, it is scary. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, 16 clutches ain't shit. But I do I do feel like you could literally have 50, 60 clutches that are fire ass clutches, and you'll be just fine with that. Like you don't have to stress much about life unless you're trying to just travel the world and go to fucking, I don't know. But
right. We have a full-time photography studio as well. So I've had my photography studio for about 15 years. Started in our home, and about 9 years ago, we went to a downtown retail location. And to be honest, man, like as this is growing, I've taken little steps back from it, and I would like to remain doing photography in some sort of way. But we've talked about as this has grown, my passion is more so here than it is in the photography side of things in a way. Where maybe we get rid of the studio and I just go to, on location, and maybe someday it happens, right? It just happens where like this continually grows and the ball python market stays, decent. Maybe this just becomes my living altogether. And so, it is interesting, man, to find myself back in the industry, like from a somewhat full line pet store. We didn't do like dogs or cats, but we carried everything else, saltwater and reptiles and fish. And when we got out of it, I knew we would tinker, but I never really saw this as a business again. And so same with you, man. I bought a lot of stuff that just visually pleased me. I was like, oh, this is cool. I have to have it, and now it's got to make sense, right? To fit the business plan of it. Like I look at this much more as business in the past 3 years. Before that, it was kind of, fun money and like I was enjoying myself, but we've really tried to take things a lot more serious over the last probably 2 and 3 years.
That's, it's crazy how like, even if you're doing things right in this industry and like how you like me, like, I feel like I built that reputation of being so blunt and so upfront because like I said, in the beginning, I didn't care to make this a business. Like I didn't care, bro. Like I wasn't like, like I just wasn't Ball Pythons 101. I wasn't Miguel. I wasn't these fucking people,
Sure.
And then I just got put in a position as years were going on and the connections I was making. And then, like, my first year, holy shit, I made this kind of shit and I'm getting this reaction. I'm making this kind of money. Like, I was like, it got me excited, but it also made me take it more serious. And that's why I fucking held back the whip big time. Like, people still think I'm intense now. You don't know shit. You should have saw me a couple years ago. I was really bad. And that's just because you gotta understand, like, I just, I'm not perfect, like I talk about all this. I talk about all this time how this fucking the biggest debt that I owe to this hobby as a whole is how it's changed me as a man, like it's fucking made me be more appreciative and, show more love to people. But I also can read right through people still. So don't fucking try to play me. But I'm just saying, it's just like you Troy, like Troy, if I could say, and this is probably my first heavy reach around of the episode going down right now. I hope you're ready. But Troy was somebody who genuinely, like, I can't remember how long ago I met you. It had to be at a Pomona show. It was at a Pomona show.
Pomona. Yep.
You had your classic glitter fucking jacket on. It was classic, And honestly, I was kind of like, that was when I was in my favorite. I only showed up because Miguel told me to go, and I wanted to see a couple people, but I was not there with like the whole I'm vlogger and shit, or maybe actually I was starting to. I take that back. I was just starting to, but either way, wasn't really there to make friends. But you had such a polite, great energy to you, man. And even with your, you're like, you matched what you were wearing, which was loud and awesome. You know what I mean? Like, it was just really great to talk to somebody who didn't have an ounce of arrogance in them. Like, you didn't shine me at all. And that's one thing why I was kind of standoffish in the beginning, because I did get arrogance. It was half and half. And I was more like, fuck it. If I'm getting this much arrogance, if it's half and half, I'm taking that everyone's going to be arrogant. I rather won't talk to nobody. Somebody wants to talk to me, they can. But I think you and I connected at the bar. Forrest was there. I think that was the time Forrest was there. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I remember because I didn't know him very well, and I think that might have been the first time I actually met him.
Yeah, I think that, and I'm from what I remember, and I was fucking trashed that night. Like, I left my wallet at the bar. I was bad. Like, I was, dude, almost blacked out status. But if I remember correctly, I remember conversating with Forrest. I got him something to drink, and then you were right there. And then I started talking to you, and then you and I started talking for I don't know how long. But I do remember, like, it was Forrest was in that vicinity of me meeting you in that lobby bar area at the Pomona Hotel right there. I think it was a Sheraton, right? So,
Sheraton, yeah, yep.
So anyways, man, I don't forget things like that. I just don't, and it wasn't like you and I became best friends and we talked every day on Instagram. No, I run into you. I see you're doing your thing. I follow your work. You follow my work. I give you props. You give me props. But like I said, I hold on to shit like that. So that's why excitement that I have all relates to just the way you've always treated me since coming into the hobby, and I feel like that's important for any experienced breeder, even mid-level, where no matter where you're at, respect is so important to anyone, no matter what their level is in the hobby. So yeah, props to you on that. Yeah. So,
me and you probably are a lot alike at one point in our life. I think there's a time in my life where I just didn't care. I didn't care if I offended people. No filter. I still have a little bit of that. I tried to check it a little bit. But when it came to business, man, this is going to sound maybe a little corny, but when I was young, and had a lot of trouble in my life, I was a pretty unhappy child. But I met a guy through our church, even though I wasn't a big fan of my mom and dad bringing me to church. His name was Leo Levine, and he owned a car dealership, and he owned a skating rink. And he told me, and it's all over our town still this day. He's long past, but his quote was, "People do business with people they like." And it stuck with me from a 5th, 6th grader on. So whether I was selling stuff door to door for, school, or whether I'm selling ball pythons at a show, man, I remember that. And I think people will like you if you treat them with respect. And I think if I don't put any one person on a pedestal over the other. We're all human. We all make mistakes, and this industry has a fair share of issues. There are a lot of egos, and there's a lot of somewhat drama, and if you can stay kind of clear of that, I think most everybody here is here for a good time, man, and I think we all like to support each other. And so, yeah, whether it's the first time I've talked to you or the 100th time, I'm going to try to kill you with kindness, and make the world go round, man. Life's pretty short. You talk about Forrest, man, you don't think a guy like that, isn't going to be there the next show, right? You think he's going to be there for a long time. He was a young guy, and Ben Rennick, I think of some of those guys that we've lost legends in this industry, man. Yeah, absolute legends, and it's so unfortunate. And so I also think that has a lot to play with just who I am as a person. I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow, man. So I want you to remember me for the best person I possibly can be, right? And if I go tomorrow, maybe I can leave this world in a peaceful way, knowing that I hopefully didn't piss off too many people.
I mean, here's the thing, man. I mean, there's points where I'm like, I don't want to piss people off, but you can't help it. Even if you are not perfect.
No.
I mean, I don't think this happens to you quite often, Troy, but I'm sure you've been in a position where you're like, well, I'm so sorry. I definitely wasn't trying to get you like this. So what I'm trying to say is like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? No, take it, you run a business, customer service is key. You want somebody to come back to you. You treat them with the utmost respect. You know what I mean? But refuse business to anyone if that's a necessary subject. One thing that I don't give a fuck is like I said, yes, I'm doing this full time now, but if you are thinking that your money is going to let you talk to me a certain way or demand like certain pictures and shit like that, you're tripping. Yeah. Like that's just not going to happen.
I don't necessarily believe in the customer is always right. I think there's a lot of people in the world, whether it's me as a photographer or me as a ball python guy. If you treat me with kindness, I'm gonna treat you with kindness. But if the minute you disrespect me, I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to sell you an animal. I don't have to photograph you. Like I can slam that door shut pretty quickly too. And it really comes down, I think, just to that, respect level. Not all of us are the same. We all have individualism. And some people click and some people don't, and that's fine. That's the way the world works. But when it's sales related, you can be kind to one another and give each other respect. And, there's a lot of people, I think, in this industry that, that's the thing that probably bothers me the most is, it seems like sometimes people are out for people, or if you make a mistake and you ID something wrong, you got 500 people on Facebook telling you you're an idiot, and he screwed me over and this and that. And people don't slow down and think about like, man, I'm human. You make mistakes, or, like you brought Ball Pythons 101 on when he said some stupid shit. He owned up for it, right? Like move on, forgive, forget, and the world's better for it. But there's people that hang on to shit like that, and it's unfortunate. And I just want people to be happy, man, and have a good time and buy some snakes or frogs or whatever the hell it is you're into. And I care more about the friendship than selling you a snake. I'd rather be your buddy. So
I swear to God, Troy, I'd probably pay good money for this, type of these type of numbers. But I would imagine if prior to me bringing Chris on with all these motherfuckers in Facebook with pitchforks, like fuck MJ. Remember, it went from all about Chris to all about me. Like I'm the piece of shit, right? For wanting to bring him on, right? You understand? Like I went from like entertaining it to just sitting back and just like sitting there like this, right? But bro, you gotta understand, like as soon as everything happened, the episode was ended. Now what? But what I'm trying to say is, I wonder what the percentage was where people thought, okay, we're gonna forgive Chris after this episode. Like, what was the percentage of forgiveness versus no forgiveness? Like after the episode, bro. All I gotta say is, I'm not trying to say it was on purpose. Listen, I wanted to hear why the fuck somebody with such a big following would want to diminish their business like this. Okay, and like I said, nobody fucking forced Chris to come on. I laid it all out for him, okay? He knew Brian was going to come on. He knew Billy was going to come on, and I'm not trying to bring up old shit. We are so past this, and that's a good thing. Sure. We are way past this. But what I'm trying to say is it's funny how the human brain works for most people. And, if you look for it, man, the toxic community is so easy to be a part of. Like it's like they're welcoming people every second of the day. And it's like, bro, and it's not, and like I said, as much as I talk shit about Facebook, I do like Facebook because of the OGs that I have relationships fucking in Facebook. You know what I mean? But most of the toxicity, did I say that right?
That sounds good to me.
Anyways, most of the toxic shit does come from fucking Facebook. It comes from those those group pages. And what doesn't help are the admins, bro. Most of these groups, these admins fucking contribute in it. And I'm like, this is why. This is the problem. And there are, I'm not saying it's every Facebook group page, but 9 out of 10. Let's just put it that way. Okay.
Yeah. It's tough. Yeah. There's many times where like, I haven't taken myself out of those and I pop on Facebook. We do a lot of Facebook stuff for the photography side of our life. And so I'll pop into the reptile groups from time to time and people pose questions and there's 9,000 wrong answers probably, and then all of a sudden, if you write what you think is the best answer, like it'll take over the day, right? Like people, it's easy to be a keyboard, cowboy or whatever. And it's unfortunate, that social media, I think social media is the greatest invention of all time. and it's also the absolute worst. You know, like it's
It
brought
could be
the
your
worst
best
out of
friend.
the community.
It could be your best friend or your worst enemy, however way you
Yes.
want to pick it, man. But what's funny is how a lot of these people just don't understand, you know, the hobby's big, but when you go to the show, it's not that big. You see a lot of people, you know, and I feel like a lot of people who have the initial energy towards somebody is not the initial energy they have when they meet them in person, you know? So I feel like a lot of the keyboard warrior stuff should probably hold back until you meet the person, or like,
Yeah,
you know,
give
like,
people a
yeah,
chance,
like,
opportunity to be
don't
aware.
just jump on the train. Like there's at the
Yeah.
end of the day, people get clicky. This is a hobby where it gets super clicky, straight
Yeah.
up. And it's you know, it's high school shit. It really is, but it's like this in almost every single hobby you go through. It's like political little fucking clicky shit that people ride coattails of others who feel a certain way, and that's just really known on Facebook. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you know, the ones who are just here to do their thing and are pushing their brand and not a part of any of that shit. And that's what it's all about, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
try to stay on that side. Because if I could change anything in our industry, man, it would be that. It would be, I would like to see us be more of a collective and not so, demonized by one another or the, the back and forth, of arguments in this. I really wish that our industry was a little stronger when it came to, the people side of things and pointing fingers and things like that.
I have high faith, really high faith, with all the new wave of keepers we have coming in, because I feel like they're coming in on a serious note. They're being mentored by all these YouTube content that's being out there. You have big time breeders who are like leading by example, giving any kind of level of breeder the time of day, which I feel like that's the inspiring part. That's what lit my fucking fire from the very beginning, was having Chris Cercery and Miguel Garcia and man, my mind's going blank. I always just, those are the two that I could always remember off the bat, who gave me the time of day, who gave me the time of day that just like sparked something in me where I was like, oh man, this is great, because they were, and then when I met Brian Barczyk, I could tell you it was that, and then when I met Barczyk, okay, because Barczyk was the reason why I started canceling DJ gigs. Like, he's the reason why I broke up with the girl I was with at the time. I said, fuck all my friends. I'm done partying. I don't want to be a DJ no more. I'm going to sit here with my Petco. Wait, no, it was a Craigslist purchased ball python. It was a Mojave Orange Ghost who is laying her third clutch. She already laid her third clutch. God bless her. That was my first snake, bro. And then, back then it was like Google, you would Google things still back then. This is what, 2016, I think? Yeah, 2016. And fucking snake, ball python, Brian Barczyk's YouTube channel. It was a wrap. I went ballistic for like, man, I think it was like a Thursday. I canceled everything when I was supposed to be at the airport Friday. I even canceled work Monday because I just did not want to do nothing but watch YouTube videos. Yeah, I was kind of depressed too, but still, like, dude, this what like fed my addiction. I'm telling you right now. So, bro, everything has its purpose. I'm telling you, and it's amazing. This reptile industry, I like to call it an industry versus hobby, because
I'd say them both.
There's so much money involved. Like, bro, there's so much money involved in this shit. It's ridiculous. It's an industry, so it's not a hobby. But I do say hobby because it is a hobby for some. It depends, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, a lot of different levels. Absolutely. We see a lot of that. Like, everybody starts somewhere, right? And that's one thing that I try to say is everybody starts somewhere, and none of us came out of the womb, knowing everything about ball pythons and whatnot. So it is, you have to give people time to grow and try to, give them as much advice as you can. People are going to take your advice and listen. Some aren't, some are. And, you grow from level to level. But at the same time, we're still all human. And I really believe that if you put the time in and you do your research, and there's plenty of great people, MJ, your podcast gives a lot of people an opportunity to learn from, so many different people, and there's a lot of different ways to get the same result. Like, I may use this tub and you might use that tub, and I might do this, and you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many different ways. At the end of the day, we all end up with eggs, right? Or we hope. And so, it's an interesting industry sometimes, as far as how a lot of things have changed, especially with social media and whatnot. So, yeah.
Hell yeah. Sorry for dipping out. You know how that went. Fucking
yeah, you're fine.
But okay, so let's talk about when you first established relationships, with even relationships you have now? Because it seems to me like you have known some people that have been in this for quite a while, just like yourself. So do you have anybody that sticks out off your head right now that kind of mentored you and kind of?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll name off a few guys. The JSA family. It's right here. My JSA family. John and Joe, Michelle and Sheena. I remember seeing them when I was selling leopard geckos and they were selling snakes at the small Iowa show that Jim Stepplug put on. He has Southwest Reptiles. I think I'm saying that right. He's in Wisconsin. Right. He was a big part. Like, he kind of sold me that first trio that I had. He helped me in a lot of ways. JSA helped me in a lot of ways. Brock Wagner, JD Constriction. JD's just a couple hours for me. And as far as like, where we are now, like JD and me and JSA, we travel together. We all Airbnb together. We run shows together. We spend a lot of time, building each other up. And so, a lot of those guys were definitely, stepping, stepping stone or whatever to help me get where I'm going. And, we've all done what we can to help each other in one way or another. And so, yeah, I mean, that would be a few guys that definitely early on and that is still with me. I talk to Brock from time to time, but I feel like, I don't get to talk to Brock as much. Brock is a busy guy, like building houses and like beer, and he's got snakes and he's a cop, and like that guy's a busy dude. So I talked to JSA and JD quite a bit. Jimmy, I don't get to talk to Jimmy as much, and he's had some health things. I know he's still making it to some shows and stuff. And so, but off the top, like right off the top of my head, man, that would be, at least 4 people that really had a lot to do with my early stages. And now I feel very fortunate. I get to talk to guys like, Justin and it's no longer like, oh man, that guy's not going to talk to me like he's a big deal, like blah, blah, blah. Like, he talks to me like we're just 2 people, right, that enjoy the same industry. And so, I really feel pretty fortunate, heading out to Ozzy's next week. Really excited. Haven't been to his facility before. I've got to talk to Ozzy, and I have some really nice snakes from him and stuff. So, really looking forward to spending some time with him next week. And my California crew, man, like, listen, I have a deep love for so many of you guys, and Andrew at Redwood and Antone and Jerome. I'm gonna forget. So Dean's Reptile, like Mike Porter. Like, man, I came out to California with some friends from Texas.
Porter's here in the building.
Yeah, Sean Barnett. So Sean had surgery yesterday, and so if you guys do me a favor, if you're a prayer kind of person, put a prayer in for Sean. But Sean and Michael Jamie and a couple guys invited me to come to Pomona. And man, as much shit as California gets in the news, California was open arms, man, for me, and it felt Midwest to me. It felt like home. People were very kind, and I established a lot of very quick friendships with a lot of great people in California, and I absolutely, love those people to death. And so, yeah.
So let me ask you this. I mean, are you pretty confident? Because you were at Anaheim. Am I correct? You were at Anaheim, right? Or were you not at Anaheim? I can't remember.
So I've done Pomona like whatever 3 times. Done Anaheim. I've only done Anaheim once.
You didn't do last Anaheim, is what I'm saying. You didn't do.
I didn't. No, because it was just too close to Arlington, and I had already had my Arlington arrangements when I figured out when Anaheim was.
Yeah, that back-to-back week, that's brutal, bro. You know what? And what's crazy, too, is like, Arlington was good, but it just wasn't like Anaheim packed. Anaheim was packed. And Arlington just wasn't – I didn't see the – I remember the first Arlington after COVID kind of was like dying down for the first round. When I went to that show, it was fucking packed. But what did you think of the crowd size this time around? I mean, I don't get me wrong, there are people there, but did you think it was like packed or no?
Well, I thought it was hard to judge because they opened up that back – quarter, right? So it used to be like an L shaped, and now it's a whole box.
Right.
So I wasn't sure if people were just more spread out. Sales wise, we did really, really well. So in that aspect, I can't complain. I felt like there was good foot traffic. But I thought it was hard to judge just because I wasn't sure if that opened up space gave people more room versus like the aisles being a little bit shorter and there being less room to, really just be there. And so I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I don't know really how to compare it.
Okay. So, I mean, future wise, if it's not a back-to-back show, you plan on being at the next California show that's going to be going down here, I think in January, right?
January. Yep. So I've been talking with some guys, like trying to figure out who we're all setting up with, and so hopefully that'll come to head here pretty shortly, and I can get that finalized. Definitely will be there then in January. And then I try to do all the NARBC shows. So Tinley, Arlington twice. And then they've added Schaumburg, which I talked to Brian and them. It sounds like they're going to keep that. So that would be in July.
Schaumburg's nice. I mean, Schaumburg, dude, that hotel was beautiful. That shit was baller. I don't mind going back there.
Yeah, it's a nice area, man. Like easy to get around, plenty of places to eat. The hotel is beautiful. You're connected right to the convention center. So it does, man. That's a great location, and I hope they continue that. I've done the St. Louis one, and they're going to do that again in November. So I plan on doing it. So yeah, man. And I think you have, and then I would do Pomona and Anaheim as long as, they weren't back to back with another one. So then I would have to make a choice. But even if they were a week apart, man, it would be great. I just need a week apart so that I can get the animals home, give them a week to relax before I hit the road.
Yeah, because if it's one thing that stands out to me, and like I said, this is not to discourage any vendors doing this now or about to do it, but me personally, I just don't want to stress my snakes out by fucking going through all that traveling, Yeah. And dude, I just bought a snake. It's doing fine, it's just maybe just a parent over worrying and shit, which is probably most the case. But I don't know. I mean, have you ran into any horror, serious horror type fucking stories type shit, vending shows and stuff like that, lost snakes, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah. So one of my Pomona trips, I decided to fly out. And so we shipped our animals out to Vegas, flew into Vegas, and then we flew in a day early. And that way we could be at the hub, 9 a.m. Vegas and be ready to go. And then we would drive from the hub in Vegas 3 hours over to Pomona, 3.5 hours, whatever it is.
Right.
And so picked up my boxes, man. So the big 20, 30 inch boxes. And as they were bringing them, 3 of them out, I could see one of them had a really big stain in it in the corner. And I was like, that doesn't look good. And she was like, yeah, that box really stinks. And I was like, no, this is not going to be good. And so what happened is what we assumed happened is that more than likely the box is heavy. The FedEx guy probably picked it up on one end and all the animals slid to one side. Smart. And I put cold packs in there, and the cold packs should be wrapped in a Ziploc bag. I didn't do that. I didn't know at the time. And it broke open, and they say that stuff inside won't hurt your animal is bullshit. I can pull one out that I've kept back. That's 100% burned.
Oh my God. It singed them.
Yeah. I'll show it to you. I'll pull it out here.
Oh God. I asked. That's what I get. Troy's going to deliver. What's good, everybody? Thanks for tapping in. You guys are amazing.
So can you see that? See how it's scarred?
Whoa,
it almost looks like
it
doesn't shed. Yeah, he sheds fine, but when he sheds, this still remains how it looks. So he's completely healthy. He eats. I can't do anything with him because this happened. So pretty crazy deal.
Dude. That chiropractic straight charred that snake. That shit is well done.
Yeah,
bro, that poor snake.
I tell people,
oh my God.
I did a whole Instagram live or post about making sure you Ziploc bag those things, and that way you don't have that worry. And had I done that, I probably would have been fine. So I ended up losing 5 or 6 snakes that actually did die from it. And then it was a kick in the nuts, man, heading over there knowing this happened. And then it was just the show was fine. I was gonna say shit show. I didn't want people to think the show, but for me, I just felt like it was a shit show for me because I started my day, I started that weekend off that way. And it's Chad, thank you, man. Definitely use your Ziploc bag. So when we use the chiropracts, we Ziploc them. We end up folding the Ziploc over it, and then the Ziploc part tends to be behind it, and then I tape it really good on both ways. I'm not going through that bullshit again.
Troy, I'm pretty sure that's not going to be the only heat you're going to be dropping during the show. And hey, the likes aren't too bad, but Troy is definitely worthy of at least 5 more likes. Let's get the likes to 50 for my man. Actually, now we got 60 viewers. I take that back. He just showed something so personable and so touching. We're glad the snake's okay, but hit the like button for my man Troy right now. Get it up. If you're a Bob Smith in the building, hit the dislike. I don't care. Show some sort of emotion for my man Troy, because that was heavy. Dude, that's nuts. And so was that the only one to make it?
So two of them made it. A couple of them. So I'll tell you, like, we sat at, that big ass gas station on your way to, like, from Vegas to Cali. So it's like 100 pumps or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know what it's called.
Wait, say that one more time. Say that one more time. You kind of broke up. What was that?
Oh, it's like a really big gas station that has like 125 pumps. It's on the interstate when you leave Vegas towards California.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's pretty goddamn huge.
It's huge. Absolutely. So we sat there, and my wife and I sat at the gas pump, and it had like a water spigot, and we would rinse them off, and we were wiping them off and rinsing them off and wiping them off. And so, really credit to my wife. Like, she sat there and did everything she could to save as many as she could. And so, there was probably 10 or 12 total that were really bad off. And it's like I said, 6 of those didn't make it. 6 or 7. And then we came to the show. We thought a couple of them were okay. I even sold them to a lady, and I told her the whole experience. And I was like, they have a lifetime guarantee. And they ended up not making it, only a few weeks, and they passed away as well. But they weren't burned.
Oh my God. But was that the last time you've ever said that to somebody?
Yeah. Like, I've never had to give a lifetime guarantee on a snake. But I was telling her, she was like, this one is so pretty. And I'm like, telling her the story. I'm like, I can't sell it to you. And she was like, nope, I want to buy it. If something happens, like, I'll read. And I was like, that's fine. You can have it. She talked to me for like all day Saturday, all day Sunday. And I finally gave in like Sunday night before we closed down. We ended up keeping 3 of them. One of them I've given to a buddy, and then another one to another buddy. And then I've kept this one. So
nice. Yeah.
And those 3 have been fine. So it's a interesting deal.
Can we just give a quick shout out to the wives, and just, it was Lisa. Was Lisa the lady who was wiping, like, while we were talking, she was wiping down the, bro, that is like, come on, I don't want to cry, but that is like teamwork, bro. Like, I've met her a couple times. Every time I run into you at a show, she's right there wiping shit down. She's, I love it, man.
Yeah, man, she takes good care of me. She carries my shit in. She keeps everything clean. She does a lot at our house and our studio, and Lisa's a hard worker, and I definitely don't give her the credit she deserves. So I hope she doesn't watch this show. Her head will get big or something. But
will you
I'll give her an extra I love you.
Will you be able to snag her and get her on here for the round 2 next time? Can I get Lisa on here next time? And I would like to have.
Yeah, she hates being on video. I got her on one night.
She likes me though, dude. She likes me.
Come
on, bro.
Yes. So I will twist her arm for that. We'll make sure she at least makes an appearance.
You got to understand, I broke the mold on even getting people to interview Lori Barczyk. Lori Barczyk wanted no podcast. I got her on Trap Talk. Then she did a fucking welcome, whoever out there. I made her real comfortable for you motherfuckers. I'm just kidding. No, I'll be great. Because if it's one thing, because like here, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Troy, but like you get so much information hearing from one breeder, but most of the time it's not just one breeder. It's the fucking breeder and the wife. And it's not all the case. You got some wives that just don't want no part of it. They're cool with it. They're just like, yo, do your thing. But a lot of times, like with Marcus and Jane, right? Shout out to Marcus and Jane Reptiles. But
yeah,
man, Marcus, like I wanted, I was real nervous to ask Marcus because I didn't know what kind of guy Marcus was. I heard he was a great guy, but I didn't know him personally, right? So, I kind of get a little bit like my heart races when I hit these people up asking if they want to come on the podcast, right? But when he was the one like, yeah, I'll come on as long as I can bring Jane on, I was like, fuck. Like that was my next thing to ask after you said you're going to do it. And like,
that's great.
Because he's like, I've done tons of podcasts. He's like, but I've never brought my wife on. And my wife does all my holdback. She keeps everything back. And I'm like, that's so important to talk about. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I always ask, like the first round is always the introduction on getting to know the breeder. But once I find out you have a spouse, wife, fucking husband, whatever the fuck you're into, I don't care. Bring that shit. I'm bringing that shit on the show, man, because the teamwork is what drives. And my wife, she's right there, educated, I love her to death. But man, she's like all fucking for what I do. I wouldn't be able to do none of this if it wasn't for her. And, you know, and I don't want to bring up nightmares, but let's just say Lisa was not involved in this. How hard would it be doing this by yourself, Troy?
It would. Like, I mean, she takes care of the rats. She picks up the slack of, you know, my slack of cleaning. So like I come down to clean, she always ends up coming in, and it's really our agreement. She takes care of the rats, I take care of the snakes, but really she takes care of both with me. And I don't really do anything with the rats other than grab them to feed them off. Right. Like,
Right.
So she does all of that. And then, yeah, man, it would be tough. Like I would have to add that, the amount of time she helps me clean. She doesn't do the feeding part. She doesn't want nothing to do with that. She doesn't like to see the cute little rats die. But
that's Lily's thing too. Yeah, she that's where she that's where I drew the line. I was getting attached because I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was breeding some cute ass fucking sheep looking rats. Like they had the most curliest fro like, and I love little fros. Little fros are like, I'm sorry, you know. And I just like I started keeping them, and I was like, well, I'm gonna breed this one forever. I'm gonna breed this one forever, and then like, oh my god, bro. And then it just got to a point where like, you know, the only time I was not having fun in doing what I'm doing is when I was working with rats.
Yeah, I absolutely hate being in the rat room and like
it's not fun.
No, yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's a blessing, man. Lisa, that's a key part. That's a key part of the snake operation is your rat room. More important than probably anything else in my mind is your rat room. Like we're getting ready to upgrade that. We're buying some new racks and stuff. That's half the reason we're going out to Ozzy's is we're picking up some of his used racks. But
nice. Respect.
Yeah, the rat game, man, is important. And for her to take care of it all, I mean, she'll unload the pallet of food, right? Like, so we'll go out to our feed store and pick up, 40 bags of Kent rat food, and I'll come home and I'll go to the bathroom. But when I come outside, she's slugging. I mean, she's a tough worker. So
now that we're talking about the rats, right? Because like you said, it's a whole, like, obviously, and I'll tell you what, breeding rats makes the most sense if you're looking to do this breeding thing as a full-time, 100%. Yeah. You can, you're living off your own stock. You don't ever have to worry about shit when you're breeding your own rats. Huge plus. Mm-hmm. But not anyone can just breed rats. There's so much trial. I mean, it can get easy. It's like anything else. It could get systematic, but it's like with rats, you can't skip a clean day. Like you can't, like unless you just like breathing in nasty ass fucking piss shit fumes, which I don't like. That's like my room, I know when my room stinks, but for the most part, for all the different species and shit that I keep, my room doesn't smell too bad. I'm just saying, like, my wife doesn't think so. But anyways, rats, bro, holy shit, the upkeep. And by the time I had my full rat thing going, I had like 6 big, I can't even tell you, like 6 of those big giant 8 black Home Depot tubs, those big cement tubs.
Yeah, cement tubs. Yep.
So I had 8. I had about 6 racks with 8 of those tubs on each rack. So, I can't even tell you the count I had, but I had so much going on to where, dude, I was not even like worried about snakes that I would normally be looking at. I was doing the rats all the fucking time. But what helped your game, dude? Like what did you do in the beginning when you started breeding your rats that kind of like put you on the road for success where you're at now?
Yeah, really a couple things. We knew enough to get going, but there's a science, really behind rats, and a lot of that is food quality and like even temperature and things like that. And in the rat room we currently have, it's just a 10 by 12 shed out back. It works, but we're expanding into our garage. We're actually going to kind of tear that apart and redo it. Anyways, I can't take any credit. That's probably what I should say is I can't take any credit because everything I've learned about rats has probably 90% of it has come from JSA. John and Joe have a rat facility and they supply a large pet store in the Twin Cities, Minnesota area, and then their own collection. And I even pick up rats from them from time to time when I'm running low. And they have such a science behind it. And so it would be nothing but a lie if I came on here and, said that, I got this all on my own. Like they help me quite a bit. And so we're going to go even further to their system, where hopefully we're only using rats for maybe 3 to 4 weeks while you're getting the biggest production of babies from them. And so hopefully we get in even a better cycle than we have now. And I think that's a big part of it, is getting a cycle, feeding them, watering them, cleaning them. Like, temperature wise, Iowa's a little tough, right? Like, it gets 40 below in January and it gets 100 degrees in the summer. And so, we have to air conditioning or fans and heat and stuff in the winter, and trying to find that happy zone where they'll continue to breed and stuff. So yeah, man, if you want rat information, I would love to see you get Joe or John on here, man, and just to do a short series on rat production. They would kill it.
Yeah, but I want to know what you know.
Yeah, I
want to know what Troy's been doing. I would love to get him on. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I'm asking what you do, because obviously you're doing it. You're doing it where you can keep doing it. I gave up. Like, I quit because it was too much. And I got Cold Blooded Cafe. But anyways, go ahead. I want to know. I just want to know what or you could just say it was all mentorship. If you want to say everything that helped me was all mentorship.
Like, and to be honest, like, Lisa really takes care of that whole part.
That's what it is. Lisa.
Yeah, I don't know if I can really tell somebody. I couldn't get on here and be like, this is what you should do. Lisa probably could give you some info. Joe and John more so. We don't do it the best currently. We're really looking forward to upgrading to these racks so that we have a better system. And again, I mean, that's going to be a lot of Lisa's doing, and we even plan on going up to JSA, I think, and maybe trying to work a couple of days in their facility just to get a really good hands-on, like, this is what we should do to keep track of this. And so, maybe I can share that knowledge with you guys when I'm there. Maybe I can hop on a live or something. So
that'd be sick. Now, with that being said, with your diet program with your animals, if we could talk about that, I mean,
yeah,
are you just strictly rats, or do you kind of diverse with your adult? And we can even talk about what you feed your hatchlings too. I mean, all the way from the hatch, all the way from the ground up, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm probably 90+% rats. I do have African soft furs, and I have one colony of mice. I literally have, I think, 2 hatchlings that wouldn't eat rats, wouldn't eat ASFs, but have been eating mice. So I keep a one group of that. But I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I've got 4 girls that have really been hard on rats. They just won't. They'll eat one from time to time. Like, I actually had a girl that's been nothing but soft furs since I got her to eat a rat today, which, I always try. And if they won't eat it, I take it out and I just throw them in ASF because I know they'll eat that.
So you got both?
Yep. So I have ASFs I actually keep in the house. I keep them in our basement. We do kind of the lab, rat tub or whatever, mouse tub. And then, I do, I don't know. I think it's like 2 males and 7 females or something in there. I don't have any rhyme or reason to anything I do with the ASFs either, man. It's how I got them from the guy we got them from, and it's worked. They produce a ton of babies. And so I take them once they get to a point where their eyes are open and they're running around, I put them into another one, and then I let those just kind of grow up. And like I said, I've got 4 or 5 girls, and I'll feed, like, some of those girls are good size, man. So I'll feed them like 4 ASFs in a feeding. So, right. and hatchling wise, I always try to. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying, like, hatchling wise, my system, I guess, is I always try rats first, whether that be just a small pinky or maybe a fuzzy, or if that's what you want to call it. If I absolutely can't get them to do a rat, then I'll do an ASF. And then what I try to do is I'll feed them 3 ASFs in a row, and then I'll flip back to rats. Typically that works for me. I would rather keep them on rats. I don't get real big into the debate. I think if your snake has a feeding response, usually they'll eat anything, right? Some do get stuck. But I think most snakes, I think you could raise a female or whatever on ASFs and then switch it to rats if its feeding response is right, so I don't typically get in that debate, but that's, we start our hatchlings on rats. We'll do ASFs if we have to. I've got like three that I'm trying to save where I'm assist feeding them. And so I use the ASF pinkies for that since they're a little smaller. And, but yeah, that's, our system. I weekly feed, something that I went to, I think in just this last year or two, is I don't necessarily feed like all of our females. I don't necessarily feed like one a bigger rat, one a smaller rat. I try to find a medium ground between like small and medium, and I just feed everybody the same. And that's really worked out pretty well for me. I don't have to spend time like, oh, this one needs a medium and this one, needs a small plus or whatever. They're all pretty well on the same size rat, and some snakes are bigger, but sometimes I get to feed them a couple if somebody else doesn't eat or something like that. But that's kind of my feed. And then our males, I like males to be smaller, so I typically only feed them every other week. Sometimes I even let them skip a couple weeks. So, that's in a nutshell, that's kind of how we feed the room.
I mean, the one thing that I'm starting to realize, I feel like the consistency is super key, but like every Friday, like the whole once a week thing is like, that's literally a fucking, what do you say? Not a myth, but like, you don't need to do, I mean, as far as raising them up, don't get me wrong, but like once they're adults and they're big, like you said, you could spread it out. You could do 1 to 2 weeks, give them a bigger meal, like kind of go back and forth while they're in that bulking up stage, and I had another point I was gonna get to, and I fucking steered off.
When you were talking about consistency, man, I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think if you feed every Friday, your snakes probably build some type of response that it's Friday, right? I don't know how smart they are or aren't. I'm not that damn smart, so I can't sit here and tell you that I know the brain operation of a snake, but I know people that tap the tank, I call them tanks, tap the rack twice and then put the rat in. I mean, there's people that do things differently, right? And to your point though about consistency, man, is this past year with photography and stuff, we kind of got off of our consistency, and just recently we got back on. And like now that I've been feeding like I try to feed every Sunday. Typically if I do, I get a much better feeding response than me missing it, or if I could do it Saturday or do it Monday. Typically if I'm a day off, it's not that bad, but I fed today because of the show, right? We got back from the show on Monday, and so I didn't get around to feeding it until today, and pretty well everybody ate. But now I'll try to feed again on Sunday, which it's so close, but just to get back in rhythm. So yeah.
I mean, I feel like I've heard about multiple different methods on getting a hatchlings to start, but from what I'm seeing, ball python hatchlings are easy to get started for the most part if you have everything right. Like if it's not too hot, not too cold, they absorbed enough yolk, all that stuff. Which I was going to bring a point too, because I was tripping out. My first clutch, right, and I weighed. Dude, smallest fucking hatchling I ever hatched out. Like it was more like when I saw how little it was out the egg, I was like, I highly doubt this thing's going to make it. Like, I feel like every time I come back, this thing's just going to be rolled out because it looks puny. Let's take a look. Do you mind if I show you real quick?
Yeah, man, go for it. Yeah.
So anyways, out of all the snakes, this snake was by far the tiniest. Like, I can't tell you I don't weigh my snakes right off the bat. I probably should have, because but this snake is fucking tiny. Okay, this thing right here. And it's the banger. It's the one I wanted. It's had all the genes that you could possibly hit in the clutch, right? And I was really concerned. And this thing ate before any other snakes did. Like, this fucking thing is a monster. And I was like, holy shit, like this little thing is fucking like on fire, like ready to live its life. You know what I mean? So
yep.
I don't know. I thought that was really neat. Because like I said, I was super concerned. I thought I was like, I highly doubt this might be the first ball python I have to assist feed or force feed. I had a lot of things going on in my head, but man, I'm telling you, ball pythons are so fucking girthy and sturdy, and like they're made to go through a lot. You know what I mean? So
they are, man. They're pretty resilient, or if that's the right word. Yeah, they're pretty hard to mess up.
That's why I'm like, and no disrespect to anyone, but if you can't figure out ball pythons or a simple species, like, don't be so gun-ho about being either an animal YouTuber or, a branded breeder. You know what I mean? Like, all because it's getting you attention, like you got to figure if this is meant for you or not. And I wanted to know so bad if this was meant for me. I started getting a bunch of different species and like almost purposely trying to get myself to quit. I don't recommend that at all. Don't do that, please. Jesus. But you know, anyways, I don't know, man. It's ball pythons, man. It's such a, I'm not going to say it's a for sure thing, but at some point you're for sure going to be happy. I can tell you that. Like, you know, we talk about chondros, and I've, you know, yeah, well, I don't want to go there. It's really heartbreaking, you know, trying to breed chondros. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I don't have any other species snake wise, man, but I really enjoy like green tree pythons. That would be something I could see myself getting into maybe someday, or having a few. I don't know. Yeah, I think I applaud guys like you that have, you know, maybe multiple species and you know, make that work. Like, maybe it's just I'm so single track minded that I'm you know, afraid to use any more space in my head to take care of something else. So you know, you get into a pattern and this becomes somewhat easy. And so, yeah, man, I think it's great. You know, you can, I know you have like monitors and stuff. We have a frilled dragon. We have a tortoise. We have a couple tortoises. We have a Sakalta tortoise, and we have two redfoot tortoises. We have a 150-gallon saltwater tank, and we have an African gray, and that's our house. So,
right.
Yeah.
The way this works, and you know, Troy, and I'm sure you're going to agree, but this fucking reptile game, whatever species or projects you get into, is like getting a tattoo. You get one version of it, you need to add another. You got to add another. And let's just talk about ball python tribal tattoos. You know, you got a lot. Technically, you have a lot of sick ass ball python tribal tattoos, right? And I'm just speaking theoretically. If you're a tattoo fucking just fiend and all that, right? But then you get a chondro tattoo. Definitely can't just get one chondro tattoo. So then that fucking turns into your whole other half of your body turns into chondros. Bro, it's once you rip that first Band-Aid off and something you're getting into. So what I'm saying is, once you get your first chondro, be ready, motherfucker, because it's going to go down. You know what I mean? And it's a good thing. I'm here for you. I got a bunch of sick-ass homies who are really well diverse and, you know, set in this chondro game. So if you need any help when you're ready, Troy, or if you're just looking for the legit chondro, I got you. When you're ready.
All right. Yeah. What do you think about the Boland's pythons?
Man, you want to talk about a dream? You know, like, okay, so that's the ultimate tattoo, right? But you got to understand, like, you know, the Boland sits so heavy in my heart to where I know I'll have a Boland's in my life if I can make it a certain age in my life, because the Boland's to me is not. It's going to be my most expensive pet I ever have. I say pet because at one point, if my life is really going the way I would hope, a few years down the road, I'm going to have at least a pair. If I'm really balling and I get, you know, Trap Talk booming worldwide, I'm doing shit in Europe, et cetera, I might get a group of Boland's. Who knows? Because I'm that kind of guy. Obviously, you know that. But it's not important to me. Like, bro, like the chondros, the emerald trees, the boegas, even the monitors. I love them, but that's not like I need to breed these motherfuckers.
Right.
The shit that I slam the table on, I'm like, I need to breed these, are the ball pythons. Because I'm good at it. A lot of people are good at breeding ball pythons. You know, it's the gateway to a lot of other things that could really get you personable with other species. And ball pythons are amazing. But if you want to fucking test your knowledge, if you really want to fucking see if you're made for this animal shit, dip into another species the right way, smart way. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. Do your research. Yep.
You do, because I can tell you what, like I said, ball pythons is a thing for the most part. Like, you got to understand, people were doing this with no social media. It's something you could figure out, you know. And
yeah, you know, we talk about that a lot within my group. You know, you look at guys like Mark Bailey, he gets brought up a lot. Like, that guy sells thousands upon thousands of dollars of animals, and doesn't have an Instagram or a YouTube channel. Like, and a lot of the older guys, I mean, they don't think they need this, and in some ways you don't, right? Like, we're in a generation where we try to find the use of this. Like, what you're doing right here is perfect. People can get an education, they can get to know you, they can get to know me. It's a great tool, right? But like, I think some people get caught up even in that. They think like, oh, if I'm raising ball pythons, well, then I have to have an Instagram and a Facebook and a YouTube channel and a Patreon, and right, they pile all these things on top of themselves when really they should focus on maybe ball pythons for a little bit. And they're like, all right, now I feel like I've mastered this. Like maybe I should really put my time into, Instagram or whatever that is. But it seems like a lot of guys jump into all of it at once and then they're gone, right? And they didn't need all that. They could have been successful, but they just spread themselves too thin through all the stuff.
And because, if you look at the ratio of how many people drop out with that kind of mentality and that kind of mental, like, or with that kind of like, motivation in this compared to like, let's just say JP. I always bring JP up all the time because he, like Miguel got a lot of hate in the beginning, because Miguel was talking about the money, he's going to be making all ball pythons and he was actually showing proof of it. So he let his proof do his talking, which people will still talk, but it died down. And then here came JP. JP probably came back. He probably came in this even more harder, not like, I don't know, I'm not saying financially project, I'm just saying like social media wise, JP fucking went hard. Like he was putting pics, like you look at his following, I think he's at 80,000 followers now, and he was somebody who already had the social media algorithm shit knowledge. Like he had that knowledge down. He just knew, I just have to put it out there the right way. And JP was putting all his most expensive shit that people were just dying for out on his fucking platform, which build him up. Like, dude, I give props to JP all day. If it's anyone other than Miguel who proved a lot of haters wrong, just because somebody was doing something at such a crazy pace in such a short time that they were into something, as JP all day. So shout out to my boy JP.
Yeah, great guy. Yeah, we've only got to meet in person once, but we've talked to a dozen times on Instagram about. We actually talked quite a bit one night about ASS, and that guy, man, you want to talk about rats and ASS? Like JP knows, he was dropping shit at me like I had no idea what he was talking about, and so that might actually be a pretty fun, podcast just to hear him talk about something other than the snakes.
He broke down. I mean, the last episode I had him on. He talked about his ASF knowledge that he knew so far. And there were some blemishes. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of looked up some information. I was like, well, hold on. Canada does get Missouri food, because he was like, oh, I can't get Missouri food. So he was doing dog food and all sorts of other weird shit. And I'm like, wow, that sounds crazy. But anyways, it doesn't matter. He uses Missouri, which Missouri's I feel like one of the best feeds you could use. But then again, I don't know too much about rodent dieting because I've only used Missouri. But anyways, JP, shout out to JP.
Good dude. I gave him some shit actually at Arlington because he had another guy pick up a snake for him. And so I was like, hey, give me the snake. And so I took a picture of me and Joe from JSA, like holding it. And we sent JP a message. It was like, hey, man, I thought it was really cool that you gave us a gift. Like, that's really nice, man. Thanks. And he was like, ha ha. And so, yeah, we had a good laugh with him for a minute.
So let me ask you this, Troy. Obviously, hobby's growing. I always talk about all the time. And, obviously by you going to shows, you could see it. You can see it by your following, people hit you up and whatnot. But do you feel like as much as a popularity ball python is, do you feel like we have any other species out there that's going to be getting as popular as ball python is, that you feel like either the chondros or maybe chondros a bad idea because chondros are really hard to breed, but I'm just saying just other kind of species. Like, do you feel like they'll ever pick up maybe even as half as good as ball python is, but I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, do you have any species out there you feel like are going to be popular in the next few years that that you can think of?
I would say two things. One, I'm probably not educated enough on a lot of the other species. My opinion would be, I think it would be really tough to find any species out there that would grow in the popularity of ball pythons. And for a few reasons, like you talk about, like the chondros, or like they're harder to breed, right? So like people like easy. I'm not going to lie. This, again, I always say like easy because there's times where this is really tough and like you get a kick in the nuts. But with all the morphs out there, the attention, from guys like you and Miguel and Justin and Ozzy and stuff, putting out this information for the entire public to see, I really find it really hard for me to say, like, with, some type of, honesty that, oh yeah, I think this species will gain the same popularity or whatever. Bearded dragons, I think, aren't too far behind that, and like leopard geckos still, but I don't see something else. Like, jumping into the same category is how many ball python breeders and morphs and popularity and market share, ever really. I don't see ball pythons having a market share, competitor, at least anytime soon that I know of.
Now, if we could kind of dip into like your like financial success with the clutches that you've produced over the years, was there ever a point where you just had a year that was almost like you almost had to forfeit the year just because of circumstances or whatever? But like, were you ever in a point where like you almost probably maybe fucked your whole self and together? Like, or I mean, I don't want to sound that drastic, but
Yeah, no, and in some ways it's every year. Like sometimes I'm like, holy shit.
True. No, I'm not even joking. That's so true.
Yeah,
for sure.
like it's like, oh, I had this slug out, this didn't go, this didn't give me any eggs, and it's like blah blah blah, right? But at the same time, I have these 50 some clutches that are making me money and letting me do what I enjoy, and so I think it's a balance between being able to get down about it, but jump back on the horse kind of thing. There is a make or break it point, I think, for people. And I definitely came to that a few years ago where it was like, all right, me and Lisa, like, hey, I've now bought X amount of ball pythons. It's taking up X amount of time. Like, I need to take this either more serious or I need to sell a bunch of this and just be, low key for the fun of it kind of thing. And so there is I think there's a tipping point where you have to look at it as a business because it becomes expensive just to do it, right? You're breeding rats and your rat food and bedding and ReptiChip or, whatever it is that you're into. And the cost side of things you have to find, I want to be profitable, right? That's a point of any business. And there's a lot of people in this industry that are like, oh, what I make, I put right back into it. Well, then maybe you're not doing things right necessarily. Like you're saying that's the goal you want to achieve, or you wouldn't be saying it, right? Like I want to make sure that I'm actually providing for my family and it provides me, some extra income, being that we have, two businesses technically. And so, yeah, I think there's a tipping point that, we went through, and that was probably about 3 years ago where it was, hey, we're spending a lot of money on this. It's not producing a lot, but it could. And so do we have a kick in the nuts a year and be like, all right, we're done? Or do we start reaching out to people and be like, what do I need to do to make this work? And that's what we did. We took the plunge, and like I said, the last 3 years have been really good for us, and we've continued to grow, and we've made some, big moves as far as, bringing in genes and things like that. I mean, I'm like, I think a little bit like Miguel. I don't mind talking about the numbers somewhat because I think it's important for people to realize. And I think there's levels between where you are in your collection. I never thought I'd buy a $5,000 snake. I never thought I'd buy a $10,000 snake. And I really never thought I'd buy a $15,000 snake. And that's where I'm at right now. The most money I've spent on a snake is $15K.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy.
I got it in today, by the way.
Oh, so, what? What is it?
I got a male fire monarch pied from the UK.
Oh my God. 15 racks?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, respect.
I never thought that would ever be achievable. And Lisa and I could talk about, back in the day going to like maybe even like the first and second Tinley when piebalds were still, 30, 40 grand, and thinking like, I'll never own a piebald animal, right? Like, and now just a straight piebald's obviously inexpensive, but then you look at shit that Ozzy and them are making, and even ourselves, like you can make a good living off of this if you just, really look at it as a business. It's no different than selling coffee or whatever the hell it is. It's everything has profit and loss and costs involved and things. And so I think too many people treat it like, oh, I'm just going to breed this and I'm going to go to a show and I'm going to sell this and it's going to make this. And there's more to it. I think you got to follow a plan and have, maybe a business plan and sit down and like really kind of go through some numbers. And then I think there's that point with ball pythons that you have to every once in a while take that jump. So when I took the $5,000 jump, it felt really good. And I think it catapulted me to the next thing and so on. And so I think that's a part of it, right? You have a level in your collection that you can continue to go because you have guys like Justin and Miguel and Ozzy and things and Billy and that are making just the craziest things, right? And so you can kind of ride their coattails, but you got to be smart about it. And so, that's, maybe couple seconds of my business rant, I guess.
Best dressed rants, gotta love them.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to talk about leveling up production, it's perfect intro to what we need to tap into next, and that's going to be into Troy's Instagram account. So here we are, Best Dressed Balls. Go follow my man on Instagram. Go get it up after you hit the like button if you haven't done that already, please. But yes, Troy, got some heat going on, man. Now, before we get into your actual production, I want more information on this right here.
All right.
Because, bro, was this a snake displayed at Arlington?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. Okay, listen, we need to talk like off live. What's the homie? Is it JT or TJ? I forget his name.
TJ. Yep. TJ at Reptile. Exotic Reptiles Are Us. So I'll bring Yep.
I'll bring his up right now. It's the homie TJ, right?
Yep.
Dude, I met that guy a handful of times at shows. Sick as fuck. But yes, cool that you know him. We'll get into how you know him in just a second, but tell me this right here, this Mandarin, because it's shocking.
That's TJ's Super Mandarin Het Clown. It's a breeder male of his.
Het Clown.
He was extremely kind enough to while we were talking of like, hey man, I could ship it to you plus another super you'd put on the table as a display, like really show people, just the amount of power behind an NR Super Mandarin. And yeah, man, it definitely got a lot of attention at the show, and it's unbelievable when it comes to supers, man, and all the snakes and things in our collections, and 5,000 different morphs or whatever. I'm not trying to be an idiot here. Like this snake is just unbelievably, when it comes to, if you're into orange and faded grays and darks, I mean, there's just, this snake will literally talk to you. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful in person.
This snake, we don't know this yet, and I could be full of shit, but this snake could fucking potentially smoke OD out the water once we see it in clown and other stuff, which we don't know yet. But I'm just saying, this is crazy, because I've seen a super OD, and obviously you could tell what's super, but this right here, and this picture gives it no justice, like at all. You got to see this in person. It smacks you in the face if you're just in the right row and the display glass is like somewhat in eyesight of you. You're getting hit, because I'm telling you right now, my heart dropped when I saw this. And then TJ got to take it out. You're right there too. We were all chopping it up, but how fresh is this project? I mean, I know I talked to TJ a year or two ago, and he was telling me he was invested in this and whatnot, but how new is this?
I'm going to say, I don't know the year exactly, but I know like 2017, people were purchasing, single form animals. So sometime in that era is the timeline. Okay,
cool. And this is an import, or is European brought? Like, where did this come from?
The guy's name is it starts with a Piet. I'll murder his name here probably, but I believe it's like Piet. And I can't think of his last name. It starts with an N. That's where the NR comes from, because his reptile name is his last name, Reptiles. And he founded the gene. And then so it's a import from Europe.
Okay, tight. Now let me ask, so do you have any of this, or is this all his stock? Like, is this what he just has, or do you have any kind of Mandarin stuff?
So TJ and I met through when I bought into the Monarch project. I bought in through TJ, and that purchase kind of got us talking and so on, and then we met a few times, and a friendship was made very quickly, and through that friendship, TJ offered me a Mandarin that was Het Clown, that was Posset hypo. And so I did a breeder loan with him, and we could talk a million different ways about breeder loans and horror stories.
I'll shut that down right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because that could be a whole podcast.
Fuck.
And my point to that comment too is a little bit that me and TJ, man, it's just a perfect deal. Like, we're both very easygoing people. We're very upfront. I kept him in the loop. And so we had 2 clutches at my place, and then I had a clutch slug out, and I have one girl that could possibly still lay. I ultrasounded her just the other day, and she still has follicles, but just not sure if she's going through the motions the way we'd like. So TJ, I believe, bought his NR Mandarins right around that 2017 mark, somewhere right around in there. And then he's made these supers. And so, you know, for me, I'm obviously behind. Like, I would like to get to this point. I'd like to get to the super point. And I now have like a 1.1 Mandarin clown, so we can make supers in the future. And then I still have the breeder male from him that I'm going to continue a breeding loan with, and hopefully continue to work that project. Man, it's really pretty wide open. So, Miguel has it.
Yeah, I know Miguel has it. Yep. I've seen it.
Justin, I think, has a female.
What's NR stand for?
It's the guy's last name. It's Piet. Something,
whatever.
It says it in N. Yep, reptiles. So yeah. Damn,
bro, that's crazy. These Mandarins are like not cheap. They're fucking. They're. I mean, I can only imagine what this super het clown is fucking like. What the ticket would be on this? Which I'm sure is this a male or what is this?
It's a male, and I know TJ has been offered 30 and 40 grand and so on, and been a turn down every time. So
too hard. Good. He should have that down because his fucking one clutch alone would smoke 30 grand in a fucking minute.
Right? Yeah. Man. It's crazy to think about that in the snake world, MJ. Like, people want to throw $40,000 at you for an animal. You have to understand like what that animal can produce for you. Like because $40,000 is a lot of money,
bro. And what's crazy? I don't mean to cut you off, Troy, but man, dude, if you want to talk about like the levels that you see with these breeders, and dude, with all due respect, if you've been a breeder for a long time and you just haven't got the clout anywhere near like how Miguel's gotten or Justin or whoever's getting noticed, and you look at your projects and you have a mentality where, hey, $300, $400, $500 projects all day. That's what sells. That's what's going to bring you success, right? That's what's bringing you success. That's what level breeder you are, okay? But what's funny to me is how somebody in that position will try to explain to somebody how investing in $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 animals, like that is not the answer. You're just shooting yourself in the foot. Nobody has money like that. Literally. You know what I mean? And what's crazy is like I can't stand, and this is why if you want to go back to JP, because he did this a little bit, but I can't stand somebody who's preaching somebody who's never even gotten there. Like they're not even haven't even experienced that. So what I'm trying to say is this guy who's trying to convince people not to get in a high-end project has never even produced a $10,000 animal, has never even gotten a $10,000 customer. He's never even seen them. He's never even seen that money. And when you fucking taste that money, it changes.
Yes.
It changes the mentality. It changes everything. And there's so many fucking like petty, old school, little fucking salty, pissed off fucking mid-level breeders. And when I say mid-level, I'm meaning $500 to $1,000 range all day. That's all you got. And that's okay. Like, bro, those sell. I'm glad. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't sit here and say that the high-end game is going nowhere.
Right.
Because the high-end game is what's carrying the fucking low-end game. Like, are you kidding me? Like, let's be really, really, like, let's be fucking logical about this. Okay, Olympus Reptiles. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Like, come on. Like, let's be real logical about this. That's all I got to say. Like, crazy.
Yeah. Well, the byproduct of expensive animals is if you have level 1 is the 10,000, and your pets from that animal or you have level 2 and level 3 and level 4, whatever, of animals that can come from a pairing, right? So like those animals all have a level of people then too, right? That coincide with it. There's so many people that are going to spend $5,000, $10,000, and $15,000, and there's so many people that are only going to spend $500 or $200. And so I think having a roundabout collection of animals, like at our table, like I'm happy to have a $10,000 or $15,000 snake at my table, but I think I want a couple boxes in the display to have, something inexpensive that people can afford, because that's what's going to get them. Maybe they buy that bell, and then from that they end up buying a NR Super Mandarin for $40K, right? 10 years later, or whatever that process is. But it is unfortunate that there are people in the industry that kind of shit on people like Miguel and JP and Justin and Ozzy and stuff because of the dollars that they show or spend. And really, those big ticket items are a big part of carrying our industry. Like they give something for people to inspire to. And so, yeah, again, man, in the industry, we definitely have some people that make it unfortunate.
How many, and like nowadays you got to understand, like, man, I got to say the kind of only YouTube star-ish kind of feeling I get. And when I say YouTube star, I mean, those are like the famous people nowadays. Like those are like celebrities, the YouTube stars, right? But to me, what are stars are like WWF superstars and like actors and shit. Like those are like, you know, what's crazy. You got Miguel has more followers than some celebrities. You know what I mean? But it's just different. And what I love is like how much attention and good attention this fucking game is bringing the celebrity YouTubers involved. Like, you know, like Miguel's gotten the FaZe Clan involved. He's gotten fucking NBA fucking basketball rappers. He's Summer Rae. I don't know. She has like 30 fucking million followers. I could be off, but bro,
it's
like, she's repping Reptile. Oh, I know fucking JT stoked on that. You know what I mean? Like a celebrity repping Reptile. Like, come on. Like,
right?
You think this is going to slow down anytime soon? Like, you know what I mean? And it's good. You know, I don't know, it's crazy.
I do think this, MJ. I think that at some point in any industry, there's a bubble, right? And I think right now we're definitely on the high side of the bubble. The market is very, very strong, just like a stock market. And at some point, it does dip, right? And maybe that's around the corner. The point being is the dip for me just means maybe it gets rid of the people that we don't need, that are making it hard, right? And are maybe quote unquote doing it wrong. They can't carry themselves through that dip, you know, and so I think the strong survive and it maybe thins out, you know, whatever. And so I think the market right now is the strongest the ball python market's been in a long time. The last couple of years have been great. I thought COVID was going to just completely fuck all of us. And my COVID year, like, man, I sold more snakes in that year than I think I have in a long time, man. And it's continued into 2021. And our shows have been great. Both Arlingtons have been great this year. Tinley coming up here in a couple of weeks, man. It's been 2 years. It's been 2 freaking years. Yeah, like
Tinley. What the heck?
It should be just completely chaos in a good way, man. I'm really looking forward to Tinley.
Bro, are you I'm stoked to be making it to Arlington and you know, Schaumburg and stuff like that, but Tinley is huge on my radar, bro. And I'm telling you, vendors sold out. Tickets are gonna fucking go through the roof. I mean, I can't wait, man. It's going down. And what's awesome is I had the pleasure of you know, hanging out with Brian Potter at the bar after the auction, and I was just like, and I talked to Bob Ashley too. I asked them both, like, you know, has the city or anybody kind of give you any kind of pushback or like, you know, hey, these are the rules? And no, there hasn't, knock on wood, but there hasn't been shit. He's like, it's fucking, Brian's like, it is on and popping and it's going to go down. He's like, it's going to be the biggest show probably in history, I think.
Yeah, it should be absolutely awesome. And I think it would have been their 20th last year or whatever. So, you know, we're going to celebrate, you know, them doing this for 20 years and yeah, sold out show. You know, you look at like Arlington, like Friday VIP entries have grown since I've been going to Arlington. But like the VIP of Friday is crazy how many people are like in line on Friday at noon waiting to get in. We're not even set up. We get in the same time they do. And so like people are just, it's pretty neat, man. Tinley's an experience.
I can't wait. It's going to go down for sure. Now, and you are going to vend. Like Tinley's a vending show for you, right?
Yep.
What's the commute for that?
For me, it's great. It's only like 5.5 hours.
Oh, that's cool. That's not bad.
Arlington is about 12 for me, and Pomona is like 26 or something.
So let me ask you something, because I feel like one thing that comes along with your production each year is like how you price things, right? So, I mean, what's your strategy when it comes to pricing? Have you learned, have come a long way in how you price things? Do you price things based off your success at shows? Break it down.
Yeah. Can I say like I price and pray? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I mean, meaning like I hope it works, like I hope they buy it, type of thing. Like
Yeah.
you know,
Well, there's no NADA guide, right? There's no
Right.
car guide like we have. Morph Market is a phenomenal tool, and probably one of the very best things that's came out in our industry. You know, King Snake was a great site, still is. I'm not kicking them down or anything, but Morph Market is an unbelievable tool, especially for a breeder and somebody that's doing the shows, because it gives me a lot of data.
Right.
I think that's number one, right? So I have whatever, a spot nose red stripe clown or something. You know, I can go there, I can look what they've sold for, I can look what's already posted. And then I think there's that second tier of information, like your peers, like me calling Joe at JSA and being like, what do you think this is worth? And me calling Dag and, what do you think this is worth? And then I think the next part of that is the show experience. Like, at a show, is this a bigger ticket item because nobody else has it? So can I make a premium on it? Supply and demand. And so I would say, like, those three things thrown in the soup bowl, man, and stirred around is kind of how a price comes out for me. And I will say this, like, for me, the pricing thing is the hardest. I have a hard time with that because
you can mentally fuck yourself by either
Yes.
underpricing or overpricing or just like not know what the fuck you're doing. And I can tell you one thing, bro, and no disrespect to any of my mentors out there, but if it's one thing that I got left out to dry for the most is what to price my animal for. And that's how it should be. You know why? Because it's your fucking animal. I
was just gonna say, like,
and that's why I was like, I'm glad I figured that out on my own. Because Justin Gabelka, definitely one of the more experienced breeders, to basically his thumb and rule with pricing a snake is he wouldn't price anything that he wouldn't pay himself.
Yeah, yep. I'll say me and Justin have talked about that, and something about him too, or just his name in general. Like, there's a lot of people that I'll hear say like, "Oh, you're paying the Justin tax or you're paying the Aussie tax," and there might be a little truth to that. But those guys have also worked really hard, to get to that. And I think I was guilty for a while, like, oh, if I have the same snake as Ozzy or Justin, I can't sell it for what they're selling it because I'm not them. And I don't think that's true anymore. Like, I think if you get confident enough, like, your animal is no different than theirs. Like, I don't think you should shoot yourself in the foot that way. Like, it's probably more disrespectful to them than it is respectful to price it the same. Shit, price it more, like, right. Be different. And so, yeah, man, the pricing thing is tough though. It's very hard for, I think, a lot of us, but that's when it comes, to answer you. Yeah, man, I think it's, Morph Market, asking and just show experience, supply and demand, roll it all up and see what I get.
All right. So this is going to be my wrap up question before we get into the hot seat questions. Cause
all right,
hot seat questions, I'm coming in hot. Okay. But from your experience, okay, based off your experience, if somebody is in their first year or two or 3 or 4, et cetera, and they're having a problem selling their animals. Like, they're just, like, they don't fucking know what it is. You know what I mean? Like, they just don't know what it is. I mean, I'm sure it's numerous reasons, but I'm just saying, theoretically, maybe they just can't fucking figure it out. What would you do in that position? Like, if you obviously were producing heat, and whatnot, what would you do in that position if you were struggling selling your animals?
Yeah. I think I'm going to try to answer that with, maybe some realism. The Hurricane project I got into, and in my first couple clutches, I didn't sell a freaking thing forever. And I turned to Justin. I said, what can I do? Can I wholesale these things? I don't want to give them away, but I can't sit on them. I don't need 6 males, like, I really didn't know what to do. I felt like I was in that position of just not knowing what to do. Really what it came down to was a couple things. One was a price shift. I needed to come down.
Right.
And that was the first thing I did. And the second thing was like, I needed probably to sit down and take better pictures. For one, for God's sake, I'm a photographer. So, like, I should probably take a little more time, and sometimes I don't.
Huge.
Yeah. Put a little pride in your ad. Like, don't be cheap when it comes to marketing yourself and your animals. And so it was a lesson a few years ago that was like, oh, and then no shit, man. Like, I lowered my price a little bit. I didn't need to be as proud as I was. The supply and demand wasn't there the way I thought, and so a real life answer, man. That's it. I had to come off my horse a little bit, and then I needed to clean up my ads a little bit, and sure enough, man, they sold. I also think sometimes we get a little desperate, right? So you have these animals, you're like, I need to sell them because I need to pay for this or I need to pay for that. I would take a deep breath, man. Like the next day you could sell them all, and so you don't necessarily have to get in a hurry to sell stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's a great answer, man, but
that's really good. Solid.
Yeah, it was a real deal for me at one point. So yeah, I hopefully that would help somebody.
Let me ask you one thing, kind of relating to what we're talking about here. Have you ever priced something you had up for so long that you were like, fuck, maybe I should lower that, but then it sold like right then and there? Like has that been a time where like you almost felt like something was up for so long that it was the pricing, but you stuck to the price and it sold?
It's probably a little bit more opposite for me. I probably lowered it and then it sold really quick, where like
we're watching it probably.
Right. And they saw it. They saw the drop. Right. And so, yeah. Like, did I leave money on the table? But
you're like, you go to edit, free shipping. Sold.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty interesting, man, how quickly sometimes that can come in, like how quickly that can change. And yeah, it's there's definitely times where I've done that, left some money maybe on the table, and it comes down to, man, it's really only worth what somebody's willing to give you. Right. And at a show, sometimes it's easier because it's physical and you're in front of somebody and you can touch the animal, and so you can negotiate. And sometimes on Morph Market, I think some people don't know how to word maybe when people reach out to me on Morph Market, if it's a well-written Morph Market and they're like, hey, will you take $500 less? Typically, like, I'm gonna work with you if I have that supply and demand where there are a lot of them, and I think that I need to maybe come down to make this deal happen. Right. I hate the ones that are like, take $500, and it's Jeremy, like it's 3 words or something. Like I don't even have time. I'm just like, I'm not gonna respond to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn. Legit. All right, I totally fucked up. There's a couple. We have unfinished business in your Instagram that we got to dip it. So hold on before we get into. Before we do that, I still need you still. So hold on real quick. So there we go. All right. So here we go. So all right, we talked about the Mandarin. Now I want to get into what you've been getting a lot of fucking like crazy clout about. And it's this one right here. Here we have the special, right? Is this the one that the homie Nick and Justin, always evolving, et cetera, porter pythons and whatnot, they've been shouted out, but you produced this thing, right?
So that I think Nick actually produced from the animal he bought from me, if I remember right. So Nick,
okay, got it. Okay,
yeah. Nick, let's see, Nick, Miguel,
Rich,
Rich, I'm trying to think. Those guys bought for me. I know Mike Porter bought his through Billy.
Nice.
Justin bought some special pied females from me. That was part of one of his last videos. The female he's talking about was a female he had got for me, and so yeah, the special pied thing, man, has been kind of a special project, and I got into it in an odd way. I bought out a collection and that was a partnership between 2 people, and it actually made for some really bad blood. I got kind of caught up in somebody else's lie, maybe, or not a lie, but like just miscommunication between 2 people. And so it actually fell a little bit on my lap, but it's been a great project for me, and it's probably one of my favorites. I really hope to continue it. I definitely have plans this year to try to make that better, and I didn't go about it right. That's actually a project that I really went too slow on. I didn't have the vision, and I'd probably be could be really far ahead, but it was one of those learning experience for me. So, but yeah, man, the special pied stuff is cool, and I love that all those guys are in it with me. They're all great people.
Now, with the special gene, is that a recessive or codom? Like, how's the special work?
Yeah, so special has a super, right? So like special, just like Russo, Mojave, Butter, blah, 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 all in that, Bell complex. And so obviously, taking a special pied to a special pied is going to make, I've done that. It makes you an all white snake, which you get all white snakes, even just going special pied to pied. Some specials will just be all white. but you definitely, if you throw them together, you're gonna, you end up making a bell pied, I guess, if you want to call it that. But yeah, it's a cool project.
Has there been a bell pied? Has there been a pied that has like blue eyes and they could determine that's a blue eye pied?
I don't know that. Like, I did special pieds, and they pretty much, the whole clutch was white. I think I had 4 of them at a time. It was real early on, and then I kept one as my male, and then I actually traded that male to get into Huffman pieds. And so anyway, yeah. So to be honest, man, I don't remember if I really paid that much attention to the eye.
You mentioned fucking Huffman. Now I have to keep you here. I'm not done with you, bro.
Yeah, you're good.
Whose table was I at? Lori's? Was it Lori? Her name is?
Oh, you were at Corey's.
Corey's.
Yep.
Corey. Shout out to Corey. What's her? What? I'm sorry. What's her reptile name? Corey.
Corey Martin.
Corey
Martin Reptiles.
Corey Martin Reptiles. I'm about to send something over right now, but the Huffman. Oh, she has super Huffman. Het hypo. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
In your opinion, from what you've seen, how does the Huffman work? Like, what do you think that's leaning towards? More like a cinnamon type thing, or like what? Like, what is it from what you can see?
I always compare Huffman to black pastel. So black pastel or cinnamon, same gene, whatever you want to call it. So Huffman works a lot. I think Huffman's a bit more orange in my mind, or maybe a little bit more rusty colored. So I actually have a chance at super Huffman pieds that'll hatch next week. So fingers crossed I hit a super.
Oh man, damn it. I can't even look at this. Hold on. Give me a second. I don't know why it's doing this to me. Let me see. Because I was trying to upload it and it's not working. So let me see. Window screen. There we go. All right, share. Boom. Can you see it now?
Yep. Boom.
All right.
That's on Corey's table.
There we go. Yes. So, dude,
I like her first. Yeah, Huffman's great, man. Like, I think it's cool as shit, but it's a gene that gets some hate. It's not as popular.
In what way?
I think it's just a gene that was, it's whether it's unworked or forgotten or whatever you want to call it. Black pastel and cinnamon, I think, were just ahead of it. And to me, it's the same as like a Russo pied and a special pied. They look identical, but they're 2 different price categories, and so for whatever reason, one gene gets more hype over another, and so I think Huffman was a little bit left in the dark, and there's a few of us, there's a lot of guys in Texas, and I think a few in California that are really pushing that gene a lot more, and so hopefully Huffman has a comeback. I saw the Huffman clown, I think, last year. Beautiful looking animal. I would love to see what that happens as a super.
Who has that snake?
I knew you were going to ask me that. Now I don't know.
Yeah, I got it for sure.
Yeah. If I find it, man, I'll definitely send it your way.
Shoot that to me, please. I'm really curious because, dude, I mean, I talked to Corey for a while at the table, and it was not for sale, but anything's for sale, right? So
right, yeah. And she actually had her first Huffman pied this year, so she sent me a message, and nice. She's very kind. Corey's a great lady in the industry, and she will be making some. I actually have blackhead Huffman 100% het G stripes from her. I've got a pair, and pretty excited to put those to work.
How big? Excuse me. Okay, so blackhead and Huffman. How much darker is the black? Does the blackhead darken up the Huffman? Do you think?
You want me to grab it?
Yeah, let's do it. If you don't mind. Show and tell. Thanks for everyone who's tapping in. 81 people? That's what's up. Damn. Appreciate all you guys tapping in. Hit the like button for my man Troy. If you are like, damn, Troy's killing it, hit the like button for my man right now. All right, I'm going to show that.
Yeah. I have a ring light out in front of here, so I don't know if that's making it a little bit more iridescent or whatever, but in person, these blacks are really pretty black. She's going to try to bite me. Don't bite me on camera. That sucks. So blackhead Huffman. This is 100% het G stripe. Boom. Yeah.
Beautiful,
very,
bro.
very pretty.
Very player. Wow. I might be in on that, bro. I'm about to chew up, Corey. Gonna hit her up.
Yeah, Corey's got some great stuff.
Good shit. Good shit. All right. Well, you know what? It's been 2 hours deep. I'm surprised that lasted this long because my fucking head feels like it's a goddamn blimp right now. But
I hope you're okay, man.
I'm good, bro. Because you know what? We're gonna end this proper with some hot seat questions.
Okay.
And this episode was so sick. You know, even if I do have COVID, I ended this fucking trap talk shit with the hardest episode ever with Troy Best Dress Balls. I'm just kidding. I'm fine. I'm not gonna be. I'm good. MJ's not going anywhere. Relax. I got bit by something crazy and I'm still here. So just relax. Hot seat questions, Troy Best Dress Balls. You ready, my man? Are you fucking ready for these hot seat questions?
I am ready.
I don't need you to be a JP Reptiles and explain every answer. Just shoot it. Shooter McGavin style.
I'm ready.
Here we go. We have hot seat questions for my man. Best Dress Balls coming in hot. Here we go. Frozen Thought or Live?
Live.
A cut or no cut? Ooh, damn, already got him.
Ask me again.
A cut or no cut? Are you snip, or you know snip?
I cut.
Okay. Day 55 or day 60?
Day 54.
Respect. So neither. Okay. Baseball or football?
Baseball.
Alcohol or no alcohol?
Never had a drop.
Wow, respect. I like that. Not missing out on shit. Alcohol sucks. I mean, it's fun sometimes, don't get me wrong, but man, hangovers, the worst. You know, fuck that shit. Steak or fish? Did I say that one yet?
Steak or fish?
Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, I have to say steak because I eat it more, but I do love fish. But I'll say steak since I eat it more.
All right, respect. Van Halen or Sammy Hagar?
Van Halen.
All right, cool. Eminem or Machine Gun Kelly?
Eminem.
All right. David Bowie or Elton John?
Elton John.
Respect. I like that. Good energy. West Coast rap or East Coast rap?
Ooh, that's tough, man. I'm gonna go West Coast.
Okay, favorite West Coast rapper?
NWA or Eazy-E, however you want to throw that together.
Damn, raw. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Little word association. First thing to come to mind: milk,
cookies,
cocoa,
cookies,
substrate,
poop,
stuck shed,
sucks,
ovulation,
good,
Instagram trolls,
fuckers.
One has to go forever, and I mean forever. They can never come back. Is it going to be Facebook or Instagram? Which one has to go?
Facebook.
Facebook. There you have it. Best Dress Balls in the motherfucking books. Troy, I don't need to say this, but you have a lot of support. I mean, I don't need to say this because I'm sure you already know, but you have a lot of supporters out there. Comments been jumping. We had about 80-ish people watching this nice. Fucking live. We got a lot of likes, man. I didn't even get to see the final likes, but I'm pretty sure they're close to 80. Which I'll respect because who's on here, which was you. But what do you have to say to all your supporters out there, man? Everyone who fucks with you.
You know, absolutely, man. The number one thing I've always said through whether it's social media or at a show, and I think I said this in your video when we talked at Schaumburg, man, is I care more about
bro. Look who's in the building.
Hey.
Wow. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm so sorry, but look. This supporter, continue your speech.
Yeah.
Look, what are your supporters in the building?
Yeah, before sales, before a dollar, man, it's friendships. You know, I've made some absolute wonderful friendships, even with people I haven't even met. You know, just conversations that we've had, deep talks about life and our families and you know, wonderful things, sad things, beautiful things, man. And that's I'm just super thrilled with all of that, man. I'm very, very fortunate and very lucky that I've made the friends that I have, the support that I have, and no bullshit, man. I hope you know me well enough. I'm not saying this because I'm here with you. Like, I'm appreciative of you. I'm appreciative of guys like Miguel and Justin and people that are doing this YouTube side of things, man, and putting our industry in a good light. Giving people like myself and everybody else an opportunity to talk to people that have supported us and you know, talk about how we do this and whatnot, man. So I'm overly grateful and extremely appreciative of the people that I've met and I hope that continues, man. I love people. I'm a hugger. So if you come to a show and you're not afraid of COVID and whatnot, I will hug you. I love people, man. Humanity is my number one thing. And you know, I have a deep love for people.
I got mad love for you, man. And I cannot wait to see you at Tinley and reconnect and really just feed off your energy. Because it's always a good time when we're in the same building together, Troy. I can tell you that.
Appreciate it, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, man. And like I said, I can't appreciate all the support. You've always been a true supporter since I've started this podcast. You've been one of the breeders who I looked up to in the beginning, who actually gave me that push that I am doing something good. Because, you know, I had a little bit of people on the fence, but you were definitely one of the people who kind of pushed me saying, keep going. So I do appreciate that. And man, I can't wait for the round 2. Talk to Lisa. If not, I'll talk to Lisa for this and I'll get her. Oh, we're going to get her.
Yeah, we'll corner her somewhere. Yeah, we'll make it happen.
I got all these rat questions. All these people want answers to some rat questions. So hopefully we can get Lisa on board. But hey, Troy, you have a wonderful night. Thank you for tapping in with us tonight. And we will see you at the next Reptile show, my man.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Troy Schroeder, ladies and gentlemen, best stress balls.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
See you, man. Have a great weekend. Yep. Have a great weekend. I'll see you at the show. Peace out.
All right, man. See you later.
All right. Woo! That's a wrap, man. My boy Troy nailed it. Killed it as I knew he would. Thank you to everyone who tapped in. I appreciate you guys so much. If you did enjoy this, if this was your first time coming in and tapping in on a Trap Talk with MJ session, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. That way you're doing your due diligence. I can't talk. I'm sick. But anyways, hit that notification button, man. Just be on top of things because you never know who I'm going to bring to the show. You never know where I'm going to fly to do a Trap Talk with MJ. I mean, you just never know, man. So again, much love to everyone who tapped in. There was a lot of people who are here giving mad support to Troy and whatnot. So I appreciate you guys so much. So again, guys, also just know, again, every Friday I'm coming out with my vlogs again. So I do have Snake Trap Sessions vlog 24 dropping tomorrow morning, where I'm going to show off some of the clutches first sheds on these babies. And I talk a bit about the NIRBC Arlington show, which was amazing. So just be ready to catch that, guys, because I'm putting in that work, baby. Every Friday, Snake Trap Session vlogs, it's going down. I appreciate you guys. If you guys want any information, you want to fucking reach out to me more, whatever, you want to give me something positive, hit me up on Instagram, mjexoticscartal with an A, not an E. Follow the Trap Talk with MJ podcast on Instagram as well. Shout out to my Twitch viewers. If you want to support this channel more than a subscription, US ARC donation, whatever, help me with my fucking food bill in the next goddamn remote Trap Talk session. My PayPal is mjexoticscartal619. And then most importantly, shout out to my Patreon members. You guys are seriously my hot. I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting me. If you out there are looking to be a part of something that's major and that's on a huge movement and you want to just fucking learn and just get to meet cool people, because everyone is part of my Patreon page is sick as fuck. None of that Bob Smith funky ass shit going down. Whatever you're into, I guarantee I have somebody in the Trap Talk Patreon page that fucks with it too. So come join us. Come help the family get bigger. And I'll see you guys this Sunday. Trap Talk sessions go down every Sunday with the Trap Talk Patreon family. So enough is enough. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your guys' night. And just be ready next week to tap into the coolest motherfucking reptile podcast in the world. Please pray that I don't have COVID. Or maybe that would be sick if I have COVID. That means I just did a sick-ass podcast with COVID. I don't know. Drop a comment. What do you think? Should I have COVID or should I not have COVID? Maybe I shouldn't be asking for COVID. I'm going to get after burrito. Hella.